Hi, I'm Helen Walling-Richards and I'm an actor.
Thank you very much for coming today, Helen. Question 1. At what age did you start acting and what inspired you to become an actor?
I actually started really young. I was probably about 7 the first time I got on stage, sang a duet with my mum. I come from quite a creative family. My mum was a good actor and singer. All my aunts and uncles and my brother, creative in various ways. My mum wasn't a professional. She was heavily involved in the local amateur dramatics. And I was born a typical Leo who very outgoing and liked being centre of attention. So I didn't seem to think twice about following her onto stage at a young age. So I was in the local pantomime a few times when I was about 8, 9 or 10. Quite gutted they wouldn't consider me as a 10-year-old for a leading part. I was relegated to the chorus, but that was kind of my introduction. So my inspiration was probably my mum and just the fact there's kind of like creative blood in our family and a creative nature.
Okay. Before acting, was there anything else you did, or was there anything else you do now as well as that profession?
Yes, I've done quite a bit over the years. I've actually heard it said by different people, I'm not sure how accurate it is, that it takes an average of 10 years from when you decide to be an actor to when you can actually earn enough to make a living from it. So most actors do have side jobs unless you've got other sources of income. My first job, I was 15. I worked after school in a shop. I mostly worked in offices. I got a business management degree in Cheltenham. I've also trained and ran my own business as a massage therapist. I was a seismic cable repair technician. My placement year at uni was at the Cheltenham Everyman Theatre in the marketing department, which was good. I actually left my last office job at the end of 2019. I went down to part-time hours to fit around the acting, but I realised even that wasn't flexible enough. Because especially pre-self-tapes being quite so common, you'd often get a call to go to London with less than 24 hours notice to attend an interview, which not all bosses are happy with. And obviously if you get a casting, that can be days or weeks out. So I left that job and just signed up with 0-hour work. So basically do anything that allows the most flexibility around acting. So I've done care work and various other things over the last 18 months.
What role have you found most enjoyable?
I've actually enjoyed every role. I think you have to. I know when I was at college, it seemed I was often cast as the bitchy or neurotic woman, which was very enjoyable, just getting my teeth into something different. But then I've also done a bit of comedy, and I love doing comedy. So I don't think there's any one particular role that stands out, because I think you just have to embrace every character you try to portray, and you just kind of love and enjoy all of it.
Okay. What role have you found the most challenging?
I think that's actually a role I've yet to perform. I've fairly recently been cast as the character of God in a play called God. It's a 2-person play. We were due to premiere it in London at the White Bear in June 2020, but obviously lockdown stopped that from happening on those dates. We're still working. It is going to go ahead. We're just waiting for things to settle down before we propose any possible new options. The reason that's going to be really challenging is, as well as being a 2-person play, which is quite intense, I've also had to learn a lot of accents for the role, and I'm not a natural with accents. So I have to try and do those people justice and not sound too bad. And it's also been written, so the actor who plays God also plays 2 other characters. So I have to do 3 different character analyses. I'll be coming off the stage from one scene, have a 30-second dress change in the pitch black wings, try not to put anything on backwards, and then come back on stage with a different accent, a whole different persona, a whole different objective and backstory, perform that scene, and then come off and, yes, again, change back to another character. Only happens a couple of times, but I definitely think that's going to be a big challenge. But I'm looking forward to it. It's an exciting play.
Is there any role or character you wish to portray, or is there any TV series or film you would like to work on or be a part of in the future?
There's so many amazing TV shows and series, things that have been made in the past, currently, and there's so many more script writers and scripts that are still being made and written and cast. I mean, things in the past I would love to be involved in was Downton Abbey or Game of Thrones or Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, and those would be amazing. But as I said, there's so much to choose from. The one specific thing that I would absolutely love to be involved in is my aunt wrote a book several years ago. It's semi-autobiographical. It's about her life and a homeless man she took in to live with her. And over the years since the book's been published, she's had quite a lot of interest from filmmakers buying the rights to turn it into a film. It hasn't gone anywhere as yet, but I know there's been lots of interest on and off. And I would be quite gutted if it was made and I didn't even have an audition for some small part. So if it does ever go ahead, I know they'll probably find a well-known face to play my aunt and uncle. But just the fact that this is family, this was my Auntie Joan and Uncle Ken, and just be able to bring our family story, her story, and her book to life on the screen, it would just be really amazing to be part of that production somehow.
Okay. How do you feel your career has progressed over the years?
I think acting is a bit like a snowball. You just have to kind of scramble at the beginning to get it going. You just have to constantly work. I do believe most actors, like 99% of what you do as an actor is behind the scenes, unpaid. It's just constant effort and networking and applications and so much you do. I mean, recently I auditioned for my first BBC TV series, and also recently I auditioned for quite a large theatre company, and I got whittled down to it literally be between me and one other actor for the role, where it's still in consideration and waiting for that. I think most people in general are quite results orientated, and obviously you want the results because you get the experience of performing in a particular role and you get that credit and exposure and that, but so much of what we progress in often isn't seen by anyone. You just have to keep working at it, and as I said, it takes a long time to get anywhere. So yeah, it's definitely a better place than it was a year or two ago, but still just keep pushing at it. So
what would you say are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the industry?
Disadvantages are the unpredictability of it. Any other career progression, you would certainly get more money and more career development and a 9 to 5, be able to book holidays, and a bit more certainty. Because as an actor, you're freelance, you're self-employed, you just never know where the next job's going to be. So it can be tiring. You do have to have a lot of persistence and determination, and be willing to, as I say, do anything just to pay the bills in the meantime. But on the other hand, the advantages are a bit of a flip side as well. I used to be the kind of person in business that liked to plan and organise. And when I left my office job, I just had to embrace jumping into the unknown and just embrace the flow and go with it. And it keeps it quite exciting. Like, you can have quite a low time because you're just you're just overwhelmed with the monotony of what you're doing. You haven't heard anything for ages, and then it literally takes a couple of seconds to read an email that says you've been cast for a play, or receive a phone call that says a really big casting director wants to see you for an audition, or you've been booked a role. And so you only really get into this profession if you're really passionate. I've heard a few people say to do this you have to be either mad or completely so in love and passionate about it you don't want to do anything else. And that is very true. I think you have to be a bit of both. But yeah, so when you're pursuing a career that you're really passionate about, then that just makes everything worth it.
Are there any other forms of media or a different type of career you would like to try in the future?
The short answer is no. Basically, although I experienced acting a little bit as a child, I was in my mid-20s when I had the opportunity to work professionally for the first time with a producer-director, Jessie Malone in Bristol. She ran a workshop, and it just ignited a passion in me I've never felt with anything else before or since. And I was ready to give up my business degree and just pursue acting. I didn't. I finished it, and then unfortunately life got in the way, so it was a few years later before I had the opportunity to study at Rose Bruford and pursue it. But I've dabbled a little bit with writing. I've got a short film coming out. I've written and plan to make this year, hopefully. But all of that is just to further my career and just take control a little bit more of my career and make things happen. So yeah, really.
What advice would you have for anyone looking at getting a job as an actor?
Be realistic. Know that it is hard. It does take time. You're not going to get anywhere fast. But again, if it is the only thing that you really want to do in life, it's something you're really, really passionate about it, then just keep at it and enjoy the process. I know advice I've heard over the years is you'll probably do more auditions than actual acting work. Certainly at the beginning, probably forever. So enjoy your auditions. I know it can be hard because you can get really nervous, but it's just learning to embrace the culture of the industry and just enjoy the journey, really.